Bro, you're already in the lane. You know what I mean? Like, you were already in the lane. Alexis, what's up? What's up? I'm just at work right now. I'm bored. I'm tired. I just want to go home. Yep. I've been responding to all the messages. Started a new probably the real business that I'll end up doing for probably, the next 30 years. Because as all of you know, I cannot personally give massages forever. And I personally do not want to work forever. So I wanted some sort of business that other people could do as an employee for me. And I'll tell you exactly how it's going to work. So right now, I already have thousands of old people that know who I am. Thousands of old people that know who I am, right? And there's a market for old people when it comes to helping them out, right? Now, lately for years, I've been helping them out with massages. And originally, when I had my warehouse gym, I was helping them out with fitness too. And stretching, fitness, stretching, and massages. So for those of you that remember me from back in my warehouse on the original Chb2 YouTube channel, well, that was some OG content right there. Now, the only difference, not even really a difference, I'm taking all of those customers and they're getting older. And a lot of these customers, they're old, they're out of shape, they can barely do anything physical for themselves anymore. But what do they have? And this isn't inconsiderate to say. They have money and they don't have anybody to help them. And, I could say that I'm doing it for the money because, well, would I do it for free? No. But there is an aspect of that my father was really old. And I got to a point where I wanted to help him out of that old, miserable lifestyle. And that's exactly what I have planned for the next 30 years of my life, so that I can retire with lots of money and lots of happy customers, and also have the business continue to grow even after I stop. And what is that business? Well, if you've been following me on Facebook, the business is caring for seniors, senior care. Well, about 10 years ago, I had a massage customer who recognized that there was a lot of money in this market. And I regret not talking to him more about it. But what I did see, looking back, was that every single day he was getting phone calls from senior citizens that needed help with stuff. And I mean, I will say that I enjoy massage the most. And if there was a senior who, and I'll be straight up with you, if there was a senior citizen who pooped their pants and they needed someone like a home aide or an in-home nurse, but I mean, what if I were to tell you that you do not need to be a nurse? There are lots of seniors that are looking for help. Sometimes helping them put stuff away, sometimes helping them put clothes on, sometimes helping get them clean in the bathtub or in the shower, sometimes wiping their butt, helping them go to the bathroom. And you'll say, do you really want to do that? Well, when I've given thousands, and I'm not understating that, thousands of massages over nearly, 20 years now, I've put my hands on physically thousands of people, and all of them needed help. There are some people that are just physically incapable of putting their freaking shoes on their own feet. And it sucks to say that because my own father got to that point too. He was having trouble putting shoes on his own feet. And these seniors, if you care about them at all, and you're worried that they're not getting enough activity, well, what if I were to tell you that these seniors, sometimes they have such little motivation that one simple setback would make them just stay at home for the next month and not do anything. But people like me don't tolerate that. So I really want all of you that if you happen to know of a senior, someone old, someone that you would feel bad if they died, I want you to reach out to me, and I want you to introduce that person to me, because I can sincerely help old people. It's something I've grown into as a career. I'd say 90% of all of my customers have always been over 50 years old. And all of them are just in pain and tired. And I can help fix all that. My phone number is 954-210-3158. I've got a Facebook page. You can add me, Chris Bushnell. Search my phone number. And I believe my Facebook page is facebook.com/coconutsmassage. I'm also Coconuts Massage on Instagram. All right, Coconuts Massage on Facebook, Coconuts Massage on Instagram, and then I've recently created a brand new page dedicated to senior care, helping seniors who cannot clean themselves. What if I were to tell you that something happened to me this past year? I don't even know how to explain it. But if I tried to explain it, it would be that I had no money. And so, in that desperation, if there was someone that showed any interest at all, I would just get what little I could. Maybe it has to do with the Wolf of Wall Street movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and how there's a part in the movie where it's like, if you're asking, why not just ask for it all rather than keep asking for a little bit, right? I went about 10 years in a row only asking for the help that I thought I would need for that day. So if all I needed was $50 to survive, I would put myself out there for $50. And I guess I was content or something. But now I say, if I'm gonna ask, why don't I ask for more? And then you'll have a lot of customers who may not be happy that you've started to ask for more money, a higher price. But there's a funny thing that happens. Once you put yourself out there at a higher price and you don't negotiate down, which is what I used to do. So in that first 10 years, I would say, I need 50. And they'd say, can you do it for 40? And I would just say yes, for fear of losing the customer. If I said it was 100 and they said, can you do it for 75? I would say yes, out of fear of losing the customer. Now, I say it's 150. And I don't care about losing the customer. Now, probably also has to do with the fact that I have a part-time job, right? So if I didn't have this part-time job, it would probably be a lot harder. It would probably be I would probably be a lot more worried if I didn't have money. But I've done really well over the past few years, committing to something that I just could not do in my 20s, which was get a part-time job. Now, all of these employers, they want full-time. They want full-time. You're just going to say no. And instead of quitting that part-time job because it sucks, you're just going to keep it, even though it sucks. And you're going to say, you know what? What would suck a lot worse is if you had a full-time job that sucked. So just keep the part-time job that you've got. That's what's, like I said, that's about the only way I can explain that's changed my life, is having some steady income. But see, if you're a creative type of person like I am, if you're creative, you're going to want to save some little energy and start being creative. That's the issue. And see, when you work a full-time job and you want to, let's say, be creative with streaming, or you want to be creative with a business, you just don't have any time and you don't have any energy. So if you can learn anything from my life and 20 years of showing you guys my life, it's that in my 20s, all I was getting offered was full-time jobs. Now, if I would have just told them, hey, I'll do part-time instead, but see, I obviously wasn't thinking, or they weren't offering, but I can't put that on them. So we'll just say I wasn't thinking. And when I did have a full-time job, I was completely always distracted, because it was like I craved doing something separate and creative, and there just wasn't any time. So trust me, and from my experience, please just get yourself a part-time job. You may not enjoy it, but I know that you're most likely not going to enjoy the full-time job. And the full-time job, especially something that will provide for you and a family, that's going to be something that is, like no backup plan. You know what I mean? No second business, no second creative hobby. You've just got to put all your eggs into that one career basket. And I just could not do that, especially with the idea that I enjoy too many parts of life. I love life. I love the idea of electronics. I love the idea of engineering. I love the idea of art. I love the idea of music. If you told me that I just had to do one for a career, I just can't do that, which is why you're seeing me do what I'm doing today. Now, am I making 6 figures? No, I'm not. What did I make the first 10 years throughout my 20s? 20 to 30? I probably only made $20,000 a year. I probably would have made more as a full-time McDonald's worker. However, I was always at all my friends' parties. I was always having fun with people who I wanted to have fun with. Now, the only regret is that I had no money. But now I've got all those experiences. And there are tons of guys I know now with neither. They don't even have a job, and they don't have any experiences. They've stayed inside all their 20s. They haven't had fun at parties. They haven't gotten a full-time job either. But like I said, both of those may not be the best route. In your 20s, which I'm making up for now in my 30s, what you need to do is you need to get a part-time job. That's it. Now, you need to find a way to also stay with your parents. Keep your parents together. If you and your parents are still together and your parents are still married, you as a child, after watching this video and hearing what I'm about to say, I want you to go with courage to your parents and say, you would never get a divorce, would you? Because I need you to know how much that divorce between my parents ruined my life. It had such an impact on my well-being because now, like many young youth, you have to support yourself, right? And you're probably wondering, how are a lot of youth out there able to make it through their young 20s so easily? It's because they're still living with their parents. That's it. That's the only reason. Now, I didn't get that option. As soon as I finished high school, I wasn't able to live with them. And then I started making tons of mistakes. I actually would recommend at this point in my life that you start some of the first few years of your adult life still with your parents. Just make sure that they're not going to split up while you're still a child or still in development. That's important for me to say in this video. So yeah, my top 3 rules to summarize this video. Number 1, get a part-time job. If they try to get you on full-time, just say, listen, I promise you, I'm going to end up being a better long-term employee if we just keep it under 30 hours a week, right? 30 and under. Once they start pushing you over 30 hours a week, everything else in your life starts going downhill. Something terrible happens after that 35-hour mark. You just don't have time for anything else. Now, 35 hours is pretty subjective too, because that's not including travel time. So think about all the people that now all of a sudden are including 30 plus hours that their job is requiring, plus travel time. And do you have any energy or motivation after you've given it to your employer? So you've got to moderate that. You've got to moderate that. You can't give them too much. All right. Next, you need to take one of your hobbies. Take one of your hobbies and try to make it into a business. Try to take one of your hobbies and make it into a business. All right? And then lastly, you need some sort of business plan that when you finally retire as an old person, other people can keep that business going. And the business just doesn't die when you die. All right? Please learn from me and what I consider advice. Thank all of you.